I'm so excited to finally share our son's nursery with you today. Today's video, I'm going to walk you through the whole process from designing the space to implementing it and doing some super fun DIYs. Hey, I'm Lindsay with Organize to Save, and if we're just now meeting, welcome. On this channel, I'm here to help you be more productive and get organized all on a budget. I'm so excited to finally be able to share with you our son's nursery. If you've been following along on our journey the last couple months, we've been starting to get our house ready for little man to arrive, and I've been taking you along on the entire process. Now, this room that we're in was actually my daughter's room prior, but we recently switched her over to her own bigger room, and I did a couple videos showing you the space, how I've got it all organized, and I'll have those all linked down below if you missed them. But today we are finally revealing the nursery, and I cannot wait to show you the space. Before I walk you through the space, I first want to start with the design process, because for me, before I tackle any room makeover, I first start with creating a mood board. Creating a mood board really helps me to be able to visualize the space I want it to look and how I want it to function. It also helps me hone in and cut down on unnecessary spending, because instead of just going out shopping and trying to figure out how to make all those things work in the space, I'm being proactive and planning ahead and only buying specific things for the room. Now, I actually did a deeper dive into how I would create these mood boards in my daughter's makeover video, so if you want to see exactly how I go about creating these mood boards, check out that video. But for my son's nursery, I actually started with the things that I knew that we already owned that were going to be coming into this space. So for example, we have a gray rocker chair, we had our white nursery, I already had a dresser that I knew I wanted to transform, and we already had this green wall paint on hand, so I knew I wanted to use that in the space. So starting with the things that I had on hand first helped me to obviously determine my budget, because I knew that I didn't need to buy a bunch of these bigger item things because we already had them on hand. But it also helped me determine a color palette and kind of the general feel for the room. Now, this room was previously painted gray, but I wanted to brighten it up because I knew I wanted to have this dark green accent wall. So I went ahead and painted the rest of the walls white just to really brighten up the space. I also knew that we were going to be getting a new gray carpet in this room, so I wanted to kind of break that apart. Now for the closet, I'm actually going to be doing a whole breakdown video of how I'm organizing the entire closet, the dresser, all of the things baby related. But I knew that I wanted to do something really fun as an accent in the closet. I've seen this technique a lot of different places where people are essentially using a sponge to create a DIY stencil. I headed to the Dollar Tree, picked myself up a $1 sponge, and all that I did was simply free-handed where I wanted the stripes to go. I absolutely love how this turned out. It looks like I have custom wallpaper now in this closet, and it only cost me a Dollar Tree sponge. Now, another great way in order to liven up and bring some personality to a space with paint is by creating almost like a colored block section on your wall. Now, this might look familiar if you saw my husband's old office makeover. I loved it so much I had to recreate it in our son's room. All we did was we traced out an arch and then I simply painted it in. The dresser is actually going right in front of this, so right when you walk in the door, this is going to be the first thing that you see. So I really wanted to create a fun accent right when you walk in the room. Now, speaking of transforming things with paint, I had this dresser that was a hand-me-down from family, and I wanted to update and freshen it a little bit. So I ended up painting it white to tie into the room, but I actually used BB Frosh in with my paint. Now, this mixture with your paint helps it to be more durable, helps to smoothen out the surface, so it's a great solution if you don't want to pay for special chalk paint. This kind of does the same thing. The simple powder that you mix with water and your paint, just simply paint it on. Now, this was a lengthy process and did require, sanding, lots of different coats, and I ended up finishing it all with a wax sealer, but I absolutely love how it turned out. I also ended up switching out the knobs with these leather pulls that I found online. I will try to provide whatever links I can down in the description box below for you, but I love how these dresser pulls kind of tie in more of a natural vibe for the room. Now, we also ended up using these leather pulls in 2 other places in the nursery. First, use them to hang up our curtains. First off, if you've never heard me say it before, hang your curtains super high. This simple trick will add height to your room. For the pulls for the curtains, we simply picked up some wooden dowels that we picked up from the home improvement store. I'm absolutely in love with how this turned out. We were able to get custom curtain rods, all on a budget, and it really helped to tie the entire space together. Now for the other DIY that I used these leather posts for, I actually picked up a couple other supplies to make a super fun DIY wall hanging. I already had this wooden dowel on hand, but I went to the Dollar Tree and found some great inexpensive yarn that I wanted to use to make this adorable wall hanging. Now this is an extremely easy and budget-friendly DIY that anybody can do. All that I did was determine what pattern I wanted the colors to go into, and then simply started cutting and looping it around the pole. Now this will take some time getting it all strung together, but it's a super easy way to make a big impact on your wall on a super tight budget. And to hang it on the wall, that's where those extra leather poles came in handy. Now, as far as decorating the rest of the room, I really wanted to keep it relatively simple. So in the green arch area above the dresser, I hung up a couple shelves and a mirror. Now on that top shelf, I'm planning on putting our son's name on that letterboard, which if you want to find out what his name is, you're gonna have to make sure to follow me over on Instagram, because as soon as he's here, we will make that announcement. And I'm also curious from you, if you've had kiddos, did you announce the name before they were born or after? I know there's controversy to each, so let me know down in the comments below what team you're on. Now again, I'm planning a whole nother video to take you inside of the dresser. I absolutely love how this wall came together. Behind the rocker chair, I wanted to have some books easily accessible for when we're doing our bedtime routine and just to snuggle up with the kiddos in the chair. So I found this awesome book rail at IKEA, and it really tied in the wooden and natural tones that I have throughout the rest of the space. Next to the chair is a little nightstand that I actually showed you how I completely transformed in a DIY dupes video. So if you missed that one, go check it out to see how I use things from the Dollar Tree to transform this piece. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss that deep dive organizing video where I walk you through the dresser, the nightstand, the closet, and show you all of the organizing hacks. Also, give this video a big thumbs up if you're super excited to meet little man just as we are. For above the crib, right now I don't have any decorations up there, but I'm absolutely loving having the entire wall green. I even painted the back of the door, so the whole wall is green, but I am planning on possibly creating or getting a custom name sign to go above the crib. Now to finish off tying in some of those leather details, I found this awesome ottoman on Amazon, but it was just the cover. So I needed to figure out a way to stuff it, to figure out what I was going to fill it with in order for it to actually function. So fun little hack for you. If you have blankets or quilts, duvets lying around your house that are not currently being used, go ahead and put them in a stored ottoman like this. That's exactly what I did, and I love that I can still get to those things if I need to use them in the future, but they're not taking up valuable closet space in our home. I'm absolutely in love with how this room turned out, and I cannot wait to welcome our little man into our family and bring him into this space. It pretty much matches my vision board exactly how I wanted it to look, and we pulled it together on a relatively tight budget. But if you're looking for ideas on how to transform a space on a budget or miss seeing my daughter's room makeover, make sure to check out the video on your screen right now, and we'll see you in the next video.